Hey everybody, and welcome back here to NADCL. It's time for the grand finals of this preseason invitational. I'm super excited. My name is Cryptic. I'm here with Wesley, and yeah, I don't know, man. We just came off the back of a 108-minute game. I know you and I have just been sitting here watching it the whole time, wondering if we were gonna get a chance to cast. But how do you think Hokori is feeling? Because I can't imagine being in their position right now.
There's probably one part of them that's super tired, right? They just went through one slog of a game, but they're also coming off at a big off of a win. That's a bit of momentum coming out for them, so maybe they're still feeling fired up. These are video game players, so they're used to queuing back to back and playing a bunch of Dota games for 12 hours a day. So I'm not too worried about it.
All right, I mean that's fair. I mean these guys do play Dota for a living. That is a very valid point. Um, Infamous also was just put on ice for an extremely long time after they came off their first win here this afternoon. So I mean they've had time to kind of analyze, maybe study Hokori coming off the first series of the day, but probably also a little bit annoyed watching that last series. Like, okay, we just want our shot now. Come on, let's hurry this up. So we'll see what ends up happening, but it should be a very exciting grand finals either way. It is going to be a best of three between these two teams. The winners claiming that first place of this preseason invitational and a nice little $2,500 for themselves. The winners will, or the losers of this series walk away with a little 1,500 bones. So not bad for either team, I would say.
Yeah, a nice little best of three for $1,000. This is the sort of you know, fun sort of series that we get to see only here in a DCL. Able to put this together for us.
Absolutely. All right. That being said, I think it is time. We're going to go ahead and jump into our first game here. It is the draft underway between Infamous and Hokori. And I'm excited, man. I can't wait to see how this ends up kind of turning up in this first draft. Like, a lot of these teams are kind of sticking with the meta. We're seeing a lot of Medusa, which, speaking of which, is not currently banned. Techie's not currently banned. All these heroes might be popping back up here sometime soon.
Yeah, I'd love to see a little gentleman's agreement here where they say, "All right, Medusas, anti-mages, let's not run that back again. All right, let's play some actual Dota." But I don't know if we're gonna see that. I'm very much expecting something like a Medusa coming out in this first phase. Another here to look out for is the Void Spirit. Both these teams like running that Void Spirit in the mid lane, and another classic that we saw last game is the Techies.
Yep, Techie's still definitely going to be first phase in a lot of games. We could see the Pugna maybe get a little bit of attention here. But one thing you have to consider is with Medusa being in the pool right now, Infamous could take it on 8. So you have to either take it here yourself or pick heroes that will absolutely shut down a Medusa in lane. So, I mean, that's
Things
like
that come to mind are the Wind Ranger, the Pangolier. These are kind of heroes that you can pick early on and go into the Medusa.
yeah. Also, heroes like Darkseer, or just like anti-mage, but blind picking an anti-mage here would be a disaster. So you can't really go that route. But
I think you have to go for it because the danger of going for something like a Wind Ranger or a Pango is that you get Bloodseekered.
yeah.
Whoa!
Okay, this hero, I've been wondering if it was going to start getting more attention. I think this hero is cracked right now. It checks off all the boxes for what I want in an offlaner, and you know, does actually play pretty aggressive into the Medusa lane. So I like this a lot. That's if they decide to go for the Medusa on Infamous, which we don't. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, this is a hero that we see dominate lanes, at least traditionally, dominate lanes and just start to absorb the map um, from that off lane. And we see a Wind Ranger picked up as well. So these are two heroes. These could be the Medusa solutions here.
Yeah, I think with these picks, like you're probably not going to see the Medusa get picked up for that very reason. Like Wind Ranger has no problem building a diffusal as universal. You get so much damage out of that item. And of course, the upgrader into diffuser late game is great. And she just generally scales as a core. So I think it might be too difficult to pick the Medusa here. The question is, like, what do you want to take on Infamous? Because you need to pick some core that's a little bit of flex.
How do you feel about the
Otherwise, you.
Spirit Breaker?
Yeah, I was gonna say Spear Breaker's not bad. Wow, they early pick the TB. Okay.
That's a lane that they feel comfortable going into the Broodmother. TB, a very stable laner.
It is very
Um,
good into the Brood lane.
Yeah, and what's really nice is you get out of there really early. So you don't get to the point where Broodmother can hit those level timings and get the solo kill on you because you can start jungling on Terrorblade 4 to 5 minutes if need be.
5 seconds.
And TB, I think the TB does okay into the Wind Ranger just because he's very high armor. What do you think about that matchup?
I think it's not necessarily the armor as much as like I don't think she ever like solos here. Like I don't think she can ever solo the Terrorblade. I think she needs a lot more help to kill the Terrorblade because like his general build is gonna have a lot of stats, a lot of HP, and he'll just pretty much guaranteed to get a Sunder off. So I don't think like you can ever just kill the Terrorblade as the Windrunner.
Yeah, my fear here with the early Terrorblade pick is um we see a lot of these sort of magic cores coming out of the mid lane, like the Lina comes to mind, and this Wind Ranger has flex potential to it. They could put this Wind Ranger in the safe lane. They could even demote it to a 4 if need be. Um, and so I'd be really worried about sort of the potential mid lane picks coming out from Hokori that could help deal with this Terrorblade.
Mm-hmm.
But they're banning carries, banning the Naga Siren, banning the Phantom Lancer, sort of these illusion matchups that pair pretty well against the Terrorblade.
10 seconds remain.
Yeah, I would say the ones you're most worried about are definitely going to be the Naga PL and that Morphling. It's just really difficult to deal with. I will say Terrorblade can deal with Morphling eventually once he gets a Lincoln Sphere, because the Lincoln's like doesn't allow you to ever get the Morph onto the Terrorblade.
10
Because typically the way that matchup works and the reason it's so good is anytime you see a TB illusion, you just cast Morph on the illusion and it redirects globally to the hero. So you pretty much always lose your 70 attack speed and 20% stats like against a Morphling as TB, but the counter to it is typically just picking up a Lincoln's, so that redirect just gets blocked.
Right.
I like the Mars ban here a lot. This is one of the heroes that actually really shuts down Broodmother. I think it's probably the best offlaner that can deal with Broodmother, just because like dropping the arena just completely limits her ability to play in trees. She's not a hero that likes to build BKB, and same with Wind Ranger. She's also typically like a really late BKB buyer, and arena would just pin these two down really well. So I think that's a really smart ban.
Yeah, if we go back to when Broodmother was more popular earlier on in the year, a lot of the offlaners that come to mind are, like you said, the Mars, but also things like the Tidehunter was sometimes picked up against this hero. Heroes like the Kunkka were sometimes picked up. The Pangolier was picked to deal with this Broodmother, so I'd be keeping on my eyes on any one of those picks to try to transition in this Broodmother lane and clear out those spiders, keep her off this tier 1 tower, and limit the amount of map control she can get if she starts to snowball her lane. But Infamous, they need us another support here. And going the Spirit Breaker becomes a little more difficult because you're matching up against that Undying in the safe lane, right? So these strength melee 4s become a little worse.
Okay. Snapfire is pretty sick. This
Yeah.
hero definitely flexes, but we might just see this as the off lane here. So it's kind of just like a staple of South America more than anything, to be honest. I know Hiko can play it. Jupiter is probably going to take the techies, though.
10 seconds.
Well, actually, I don't know if you want to run Snapfire techies off lane, so maybe Nuages would take the techies. So we'll have to see what they want to do regarding that. But as of right now, I would have to say generally pretty good pick. Great at dealing with the tombstone. Good team fight. You need some lockdown here, though. I think you really do need a hero that can stun up these guys. It is going to be Nuage's Treant. Wow. So they go back for it. This is his like most played support hero in competitive Dota by a landslide. It's not even close. It's like 2-1.
Yeah, I saw they picked it in an earlier series and they won. And Treant Protector is interesting in this current meta because we talked about earlier that or we've talked about before, how strong Dispels are on this patch. We see a lot of Nullifier pickups. We see a lot of heroes like the Enchantress, like the Shadow Demon. And those heroes are really good against the Treant Protector. So it's definitely a comfort pick for Infamous. They definitely know how to play around these heroes, but there are solutions that are quite popular in the current meta that could spell trouble for this Treant Protector.
Yeah, absolutely true. I feel like this is just a real comfort pick. Like Infamous and specifically Nuages really know how to play around this character. It's just really interesting, I think, right now because this hero was not picked almost at all for the last like. I mean, honestly, for the entirety of 7.33, this hero hasn't
Yeah.
really been getting picked. Let me see if they actually buffed this. I feel like he was in the patch notes. I just didn't make notice of it. And he was not XD. Okay. So this hero actually didn't get buffed at all. So I am surprised that it's getting picked here. But either way, like I said, comfort pick at the end of the day. They'll pick up the Rubik for Hokori, one of the best fours at the moment. I think partly, to be honest, is the fact that he's a really offensive four in lane. Like, he's really strong in lane, but you get the shard eventually on this hero, and then he's one of the few, like, four positions that has a save.
5 seconds.
And it's, like, a really good one.
Yeah, and it's one of the most picked heroes for Hokori, and they have a really good win rate with it. So, not surprised to see Hokori. It's not only really stable, really nice lane, as well as a mid-game team fight, but ultra comfort for Hokori, picking up this Rubik. There's only one pick left, though. We're going into the final bans, the final picks of this draft. And Infamous, they have the pick that needs to round out this draft. They have picking blind into Hokori, and it looks like they need a mid laner, unless we think the Snap's going mid, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd have to guess that this is going to be an offlane Snapfire, but Jeans does play it. Like, I know Jeans also plays this, so it could be his. It's weird that they have Jeans standing in today and like over 40R because 40R looked really good yesterday. I think he was probably like the reason Infamous won their series. Like, he had a phenomenal 2 games. He also looked really good against Nouns. I honestly feel like 40R was the reason Nouns lost. So I'm a little bit worried, them having a stand-in. That being said, Mr. Jeans is really skilled. So in terms of that, I have to say, like, I'm not too worried. But yeah, it definitely changes the hero picks for sure in terms of where they would go.
Yeah, Hokori banning out the Pangos. So they're sensing that this is going to be an offlane Snapfire, and they're banning out some mid heroes.
I mean, Wind
Banning out
Ranger
the
mid.
Kunkka.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
Kunkka actually just destroys Wind Ranger mid.
Yeah,
It's one of the few mid melee heroes that can actually deal with her.
and it's a nice rotation into the Broodmother lane as well.
Yeah, you have good catch there for sure. And like I said, you need some catch to work with this Snapfire, so that would have been a great pick. And you have your Treant Protector, so not a ton there until he has like a Blink Dagger.
Whoa.
That is definitely a Jeans hero. But that is so weird. This is not a hero I've seen at all.
Could you Leshrac in the mid lane? Doesn't that just kind of own and put Wind Ranger safe?
I mean, I feel like you definitely can Wind Ranger safe, but I don't know if you need to. Maybe it is just going to be the Primal Beast off lane. I feel like it has to be. I think that is. Okay, I think they're running Primal Beast Techies off lane, Snapfire mid. Because that is a much stronger lane. And they go for the Juggernaut, and this is a really good response because this will help dodge out a lot of this magic damage that comes from the Primal Beast Techies lane. Because if you ever get caught with like a Sticky Bomb, it turns into like Sticky Bomb into Blast Off into Onslaught Trample, and you're dead. And Gardic on the Undying can't do anything to save you. So you have to pick a hero here that doesn't die to this burst. So it's either Juggernaut, Lifestealer.
Yeah, between those two, Juggernaut's just the better carry right now.
Absolutely. Faceless Void would have been the other one, but I think he's banned. No, Faceless Void wasn't banned. Okay, so I mean, that would have been the other choice. Because Faceless Void pops time dilation, and Primal Beast just like cries a little bit inside, so that's always classic.
Right. With this Juggernaut, though, I like the tempo that's coming out from the Tricore of Hokori. And what I always like picking against Primal Beast is Primal Beast goes in and he goes in, right? There's no getting out of dodge once you're in as a Primal Beast. And so if you have a way to not only mitigate the damage, but also turn magic damage back onto the Primal Beast, that's why matchups like the Bat Rider, the Leshrac, the Juggernaut feel so nice against his hero, because it goes in and then just takes a ton of damage because he's just sitting under spin. So really liking the Juggernaut pick off, and it feels like it's kind of tempo versus a later timing. This Juggernaut kind of tricore draft versus the big bad Terrorblade. I think it really comes down to lanes to see who's going to come out on top of this one.
Yeah, I would say. Oh, what the heck? There we go. It's like my keybinds were not working for a second there, but we're good. We back. I'd have to say, in terms of lanes, I feel like TB's lane should be really free. I don't think Jug's lane is necessarily free. They just don't have kill threat onto the Jug, so I think that might be like good enough, honestly, for the side of Hokori. But I overall, I think Infamous have a pretty good draft here.
Do they feel like they have enough to shut down this Brood? There's a lot of magic damage, which I like Snapfire, Mortimer's Kisses, the Techies. You have setup with the Treant Protector. That could be enough to net some kills if you rotate down, but I don't know if it's enough to absolutely shut down this Brood's game, because it feels like eventually this Spider Hero just comes crawling and crawling forward and forward.
Yeah, that part is actually going to be a little concerning, because you have the Treant Protector who can like try and scout and play in the trees and find this Brood Mother, but you don't have a ton of lockdown to follow it up. And Brood is definitely going to build a Manta style eventually, so you can easily just get out of Overgrowth or the root that comes from his Shard. So I don't think he's really too worried. Yeah, that's a rough one for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like with heroes like Juggernaut, who can participate kind of early, like Juggernaut is kind of similar to Bloodseeker in a way, who really likes to occupy his own space in the map, but can rotate over when his ult's off cooldown and just get in, Omni Slash, get a bonus kill for his team, and then go straight back to farming. And when you have an offlaner like a Broodmother who can just take up so much space, force Infamous heroes to rotate to this bottom side of the map, it makes it a lot more simple for Juggernaut to make those decisions, whether to stay in the top lane, continue taking up space, or to twin gate or TP down to this tier 1, participate in the fight, and then go straight back. So I'm liking the sort of identity Hokori has with their draft and how their tricore is going to play across the map. It's a lot clearer to me than necessarily this Primal Beast who feels like has to rotate away from his lane and come to other lanes to a degree.
I am just really curious how this Primal Beast is going to play, because I feel like this hero has not been picked for a while. He just doesn't really fit the meta. I mean, I thought he might start getting picked more as a 4 after they like buffed the damage to his ult. It's a pretty substantial amount of damage, but yeah, it's just very weird because Infamous is full commitment right now. Like, they don't really take like elongated fights, whereas Hokori like really favors it, right? You have Broodmother that can play in and out of webs, has Insatiable Hunger. You have Healing Ward from Juggernaut. Wind Rangers, Focus Fire lasts like 20 seconds. You have Undying Tombstone. Like, a lot of what you have with Hokori, like, if you can draw out the fight, force like a couple big spells out of Infamous, like, you just chill and then like take the fight on your own terms.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Infamous has to win the fight within their first volley of spells. There needs to be a great initiation from the Primal Beast, a follow-up with the Techie's Blast Off, a Treant Protector ultimate, the damage coming in through the Mortimer's Kisses, the Metamorphosis, and if that execution doesn't work out, doesn't net some decent kills for the side of Infamous, then the team fights just kind of fall apart, it feels like. It feels like Infamous's draft is slightly harder to play. In their benefit, they have a Terrorblade whose timings are just really clear, very straightforward, and I feel has the overall sort of late game edge between the Snapfire and the Terrorblade going to the late game.
Hell yeah. Well, hopefully we get underway in a moment. We do want to remind everyone that Hokori just came off of a 108-minute game to get into the grand finals, where they took down Vivo Keystars in their third game of that series. So probably a little bit tired. You know, they've been playing Dota for a while today, but whether or not that's going to impact them here, we will have to see. Hopefully they figure out what's happening. I remember in the lobby they were trying to figure out what to do with servers between going Argentina or US East, and I think they were saying that there were some problems with the Argentina servers, but they wanted to try the Argentina server anyway because it is just much better ping for all these players. So I'm not sure if that has anything to do with the pause at the moment, but I'm sure we'll get this underway here soon. Yeah, and Minnie asking the exact same question I have. What's up, lads? Sec, please. All right. Good old mod Zex coming in hot with the. You guys have 5 minutes of pause time remaining.
Seems like there's some sort of Discord issue. I don't speak Spanish, but I recognize the word Discord, so.
Yeah, it seems like there's a bug.
Interesting.
Yeah. Good old bug in Discord.
Yeah, like you're saying, Hokori, they just came off a pretty long series, but I feel like sitting on ice, just waiting for your game to start, also just feels awful.
It's true.
You know, like you just kind of want to go in and play, and feeling like you have this indefinite amount of time before you're ready to go can really wear you down as well.
Back into the game, everybody. Welcome to the grand finals of the NADCL. It's the Challenger.
You have to run it back. Hold on to that energy, Ricky. We really appreciated that intro into the game, but it's gonna have to come a little bit later. If you can just, internalize that, bottle that up, and maybe give us another 30 seconds.
It's midnight already. Oh my god.
Minnie's so sleepy.
The players weren't the only ones on ice, Wesley and I, we were pumped, primed, ready to go 2 hours ago to start casting,
Yeah, I've already finished my Monster Energy. That was supposed to be for the game.
It's just empty.
We're in post Monster hours now. It's rough.
Anybody out there that is looking to sponsor an incredible up and coming tournament, if you want your name plastered all over the stream, much like Nouns is right now, definitely reach out to us. We're looking for some dedicated people who love the NA Dota scene, who want to support this scene, kind of build back the great days of NADCL. It's gonna be good stuff,
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm super excited to see what this league can bring to NA Dota. It's it's a region that didn't even make it to this grand finals.
Yeah,
I was gonna bit of shots called, but
I was gonna say, like, I don't want to like bring too much attention to the fact that this is the NA Dota Challenger League, with the last remaining 3 teams are both from South America, but it's okay. That just shows why it's important that we start initiatives like this, so we can start getting more and more experience under the players' belts. Start building a new generation of NA Dota.
Yeah, and it's leagues like these that the next superstars are born, right? The Arteezys,
Yes.
the Sumails, all that sort of.
I thought you were gonna say my name, but that's fine.
Your name in the greatest casters sort of canon, maybe.
No, it's actually it's like what was it, 5 years ago? I was actually very high ranked relative, like, because back then, like, the highest MMR was like 8K or something. That was like 5.6 or something. That was pretty good.
Yeah, well, we can't live in the past forever, Ricky. Right now, we're here. We're with Hokori. We're with Infamous. We're going to watch them play. And we're going to see if there's any sort of violence coming out for these bounty runs.
We might see some bug violence bottom as they're looking for the Broodmother. That is going to be a ton of damage. Yeah, Vitaly should be dead. Giving that first blood on over to Minnie's TB. That is exactly what you want. Get this guy online early. We talked about TB having a very favorable matchup already into this Broodmother. she did get her level 1 webs nerfed quite a bit in terms of the movement speed heading into 7.33, so it's only 10% bonus MS earlier. And when you're playing against a Leech Seed Treant Protector, the highest level 1 DPS hero in all of Dota versus plus a Terrorblade on top of it, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah, and these First Bloods, man, they give a lot of gold, so what we were already confident was going to be a pretty nice lane for this Terrorblade becomes even nicer, giving
Yeah.
that nice little injection into his lane.
All right, let's talk about this mid lane matchup. We've got Jeans versus Alone, his Wind Ranger versus Snapfire. I think overall, Snapfire should be pretty chill in this lane. You can pretty much just farm creeps easily with Scatterblast. I'm fairly confident, like as a universal hero, she gets more damage per level. So she should be able to like kind of CS fairly well against heroes like Wind Ranger here.
Yeah, and I feel like Snapfire early on offers a lot of magical burst with that Scatterblast, and that's something that feels really nice against a Wind Ranger. You don't have to trade solely in right clicks against this Wind Run. You can get a lot of this sort of poke damage with a Scatterblast skill, clearing out the creep wave, getting some chip damage onto the Wind Ranger. It's something that this hero, I think, struggles against.
Yeah, you're always going to be able to secure range creeps with this thing. And that's something that, like, Wind Ranger kind of does as well, right? She tries to line up the power shots to cleave heroes with range creep. You do the same thing with Scatterblast. It's a very, very, very strong spell.
And it'll be interesting to see around these rune spawns, see what supports are going to be able to rotate over. The Techie's very good at rotating, but the Terrain Protector, kind of not so much. But Hokori suffers from a similar issue, right? The Undying is not a hero that wants to rotate to this mid lane necessarily. The Rubik is going to be the one who has that job when it comes to the support duos for both these teams.
So I'm a little bit curious on what this offlane Primal Beast is going to do this game, because this is a hero that we haven't really seen picked much at all. I think a lot of it was just the fact that he doesn't really fit this massive death ball meta of building like all these aura items. Like he's kind of this hero that wants to build like Blink Dagger, BKB, Kai Assange. Like he's a damage dealer, or like a Blink Initiator, and those have just kind of felt a little underwhelming since 7.33. Plus, he did get pretty heavily nerfed, but
yeah, it feels more like a Magnus, right?
Yeah.
Except does less damage because he's a strength hero and not the broken stat. So
yeah, it's true.
He has a Diffusal Blade queued up. I'm not.
There's no way. He's trolling. He's gonna go for a casual Vanguard, which is just what you do in off lane. Still, it was nerfed a little bit, which makes sense, but I think is still viable. Still very, very good item.
Yeah, I kind of just want to see this Primal Beast go for like Blink BKB Refresher or something like that. Just be able to like go in, pulverize the Juggernaut, and that kind of be his job, or whatever target they want to focus. Even getting the pulverize off on this Wind Ranger, I think if his job is just to be like a really long blink disable, then I think that's good enough for this game, right? Because they have plenty of damage between Snapfire, between Terrorblade, and between the Techie's magic damage. So
yeah, we'll see how he ends up playing it, because I feel like it's decent enough in the Wind Ranger and Broodmother. Like I said, a lot of Universal heroes don't like buying BKB unless they're really forced to. And Primal Beast is definitely a hero that will force you to build a BKB. If you don't, he can just kill you in a single spell combo. Top lane here, Lumiere is just getting absolutely clapped. And I mean, Hiko can finish this off easily. There's a beautiful exchange there. Really, really good plays from Jupiter on that Techie's, just forcing out the Blade Fury, sniping the healing ward, all around good stuff there.
Yeah, good of Jug to get the trade before he goes down, but it is a kill going the way of Hiko. Hiko?
Hiko. Yeah, I call him. I think he goes by Hiko.
Cool.
I've always known him as Hiko.
Yeah, nice injection of gold for this Primal Beast, and Primal Beast always feels like a hero that you kind of need to get kills in your lane. It feels like if you aren't getting kills on either the support or the carry, that you're kind of failing as your job as a Primal Beast. So getting the kill, nice pickup for him. Mr. Jeans doing very well in this mid lane.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's rotating pre-6. There's also just not a bounty rune here. Maybe he was rotating down here thinking there was one, but Michael has already taken it, so he kind of just wasted a little bit of time here in the mid lane. So a little bit unfortunate for him, but once he has his level 6, you will be looking for this Snapfire to make its first rotation. You don't really have kill threat on Wind Ranger because of Wind Run, so he's just going to try and show up to one of these lanes, hit a cookie, hit the Mortimer Kiss, and they're definitely dead. So we'll see what he ends up doing.
Yeah, I think you rotate bottom, right? Try
That's
to
the
get kills up
easiest.
on this Broodmother.
Yeah, that's definitely the easiest. Unless you can force Blade Fury out top, but that's not guaranteed. Oof.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing you want to do is rotate and just have your rotation absolutely ruined because he presses Q, you know?
Top lane,
That is
Nordic.
trample.
Yeah, he's going to take a pretty hefty amount of damage. Does end up being able to blast off away here on Jupiter's Techies, and Cookie off the mark, so Lumiere is fine. And they'll end up bringing a bunch of heroes up here. A nice power shot from Alone, though, does end up sniping the Techies from downtown. Mortimer Kisses.
He's looking for it.
End up going.
He gets it.
Nicely done. Good targeting. It feels a little weak only getting the Undying for that. And you don't have the regen rune. Like we saw Alone grab it at the top rune. So he's coming back to mid lane with full HP and mana. Whereas your Snapfire has to rely on the bottle fill there. Okay, so he's going to come back with some good resources still.
Yeah, I feel like what's kind of a big deal is that it forces Treant Protector top. And now Terrorblade is just absolutely alone against his Broodmother. And Treant Protector, it costs a TB, so he's going to have to Twin Gate down. But a Twin Gate, speaking of, Lumiere's here.
Yeah, this is really sick rotation from the Jug. The Blade Fury is more than enough damage to help find the TB, and that is massive. You just go right back.
The rotation from Treant Protector there was just an over-rotation. It was one too many. You already rotated Mr. Jeans up top, and then you rotate the Treant Protector. He wasn't really necessary, and it left his Terrorblade vulnerable bottom here. And not only was Vitaly just able to bully him under the tower, but there's also a really heads-up rotation there from Lumiere, helping set up that kill. So really nicely done from Hokori, punishing that rotation.
Yeah, and Brood now being level 6 means your tower is going to be under a lot of pressure. Does have the casual Bracer, Wraithband, Treads, just your standard build here for Brood. Get yourself a lot of early stats. He is still going for a Soul Ring, which, you know, does kind of make sense if he is planning on just kind of playing around spiders and stuff like that, and then maybe backing for things like the Echo Saber into that Harpoon.
Yeah, and you didn't rotate down. Yeah, man.
He's fine. He's got himself the good old reactive taser, so Alone actually kind of blowing that focus fire cooldown. Meanwhile, in comes the Techies. Managed to grab the Rubik on that blast off, and Alone not really able to finish off anything here.
Scatterblast
does pop the Arcane.
Rubik. He has Mortimer's Kisses up in 1, so maybe if there's a setup.
They're looking for it.
Techies in behind.
Yeah, they got him.
Body block,
they got him
run.
for sure. Cookie up on 4. The Mortimer Kisses to follow. No real way to stop it. Michael does come in at the very tail end and will be able to help get the kill. But a 1-for-1 trade. I think you're very happy if you grab the Windrunner. Nuages, though, will also die. So it ends up being 2.
Unless Mr. Jeans.
I mean, this Snapfire does a ton of damage. He's holding this little shredder point, but now
in
comes the Brood. He's got so many spiders. The Silken Boa. That's huge.
It's such a good rotation from this Broodmother, clearing up that tier 1 bottom, coming over middle and punishing the Snapfire, and now, you know, he's just moving objective to objective. It's tier 1 tower that's next on the menu for this Broodmother.
Hiko top lane in some trouble. I mean, he does have this Vanguard, so he's not taking a ton of damage from this focus fire, but, you know, death by 1,000 tickles maybe. I don't know.
Hey.
Right. Sometimes you get turned on. Sometimes you get turned on.
You know, Hiko was getting tickled, and he said, all right, taste the pulverize instead.
Yeah.
Hokori playing really well right now, I feel. The rotation top didn't go so well, but I'm just really liking how this Brood is moving across this map. Cookie forward. Drop the tombstone, but Mr. Jeans can just clean it up. No problem. They do lose the tower anyway, though. I feel like he just didn't rotate bottom early enough to punish this Brood, and now the Brood is an absolutely huge problem.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Well, mid-tier 1 will get grabbed thanks to the meta there. It ends up being a little bit of a trade, obviously, right? But I feel like Infamous needs to find these early towers to try and keep the map open. Like, you have a Treant Protector, no points living armor, so he is planning on just fighting. So you have to play aggressive, I think, to some extent. Offlane Hiko should get this tower as well.
Yeah, Catapult is there.
This Primal Beast is farming exceptionally well and is super high level. Like, he's level 8. He's going to get to a decently timed Lotus Orb.
Tower has fallen.
Whether or not it's going to pay off, we'll have to see. I'm still not 100% sold on this hero right now.
Yeah, the Lotus Orb first item is kind of interesting. Just helping cover the Terrorblade, allow him to have a game, secure some Sunders is my thought process with this item pickup. And it really does feel like Infamous's lineup is very dependent on this Terrorblade. It kind of feels like a 4 Protect 1 with the heroes they picked. The way they're itemizing is the Treant Protector. Ran down, caught in the wrong woods.
He's gonna get out. They might be able to turn this. They've still got Mortimer Kisses, but they don't want to stick around. The Tombstone's place. Vitaly is still just a little bit too tanky. They're gonna turn it on to Jupiter. He's gonna burn to the good old little spiders there. So, well played.
Spiders plus Tombstone. You're not going anywhere. It's like a monster
does
mash.
have ult. He's just getting picked, man. These constant spam from these spiders. Meanwhile, backside of the fight, Hiko just melts the Rubik.
It came out of nowhere.
Angry Dinosaur versus Grand Wizard. Turns out Dinosaur still stronger.
Yeah, we got Grand Wizards, we got dinosaurs, we got zombies, we got spiders. It's a very spooky matchup we got going on.
This is exactly what Dota was made for.
Exactly. Middle lane's like Party City at the moment.
Got an early Atos pickup here on Jeans. This is kind of sick.
Yeah, he's bullying Lumiere so hard.
He's forcing the Blade Fury TP. He does not want him to be able to stay up here. I like this. This is really smart.
I agree, and it's playing away from this Brood occupied territory, right? Like, you don't want to make your rotations there. It's too difficult. As we see the Broodmother going for a Harpoon.
Yeah, that's just
I guess,
the
yeah,
build. It's so good on this hero. Nice overgrowth. There it is, catching 3. It will get stolen, so you could turn around with Michael, but 2 heroes already dead. This is kind of what I was looking for last time into the Broodmother pick. You need that overgrowth to lock him down for those Mortimer Kisses. Worked out really well this time. I'm honestly, this Atos Snapfire build is kind of sick. Kind of sick.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
In some trouble. If he gets in range for the Pulverize, she should die, but able to get away for the moment with the Wind Run. There is going to be the Primal Beast Onslaught coming through. The Reflected Shackle, but here it is. The Pulverize gets dropped, and they've got the damage for sure. Jupiter picking that one up. The Tombstone getting cleared very quickly. Ends up like getting denied, which is quite nice, but Vitaly back here on the Broodmother.
Denying the Tombstone's going to be, you know, small pennies as Infamous. Taking a very aggressive stance, trying to get this tier 1 tower. Getting the pick off.
Hiko just doing so much damage here on this Primal Beast, and he's so damn tanky as well. So they do go ahead and use that stolen overgrowth.
Not much follow-up, though. Very hard for Hokori to start fights at the moment. Yeah, we saw the execution that we talked about in the draft, right? Or kind of in our pre-game pause period, where you have the overgrowth into the Mortimer's Kisses, the follow-up stun from Techie's Blastoff. Just kind of executed perfectly, and that's exactly the team fights that Infamous just wants to rinse and repeat off cooldown. And it's a type of team fight that Hokori needs to find a way to break.
All right, that is a very dead Undying. So I'm trying to think how this Pulverize ult is worded. So each time the target is slammed, hit damage is now increased by 30, 50, 70. Does that count for the first hit, or is it only the second and third hits? each consecutive hit deals bonus damage. Does that mean the second hit and then the third hit goes up by 30, then 60 damage?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
feel like
I
that's
don't
how
think
it's
the
worded,
first
right?
hit goes. Yeah, that's how I read
Oh,
that.
they're gonna find Michael here on the Rubik. It's a juicy kill, man. He's pretty high level. We'll get the cookie into the scatter blast. Quick pick up there. I will say he's gone 4 points Little Shredder, dude. I've seen a few people start to do this, like more early points in Little Shredder. You have a medallion on the techies as well. Now full Solar Crest, so it's actually a substantial amount of damage.
Yeah, and when you go this Ados build, if you look at the next 2 levels in Fire Snap Cookie, like, you don't really need the extra stun duration because you have the bonus lockdown thanks to the Ados. So just going for more damage is really valuable.
Just 300 bonus range. I did not realize it scaled up that far. That is nuts.
Tree and
Oh,
Protector,
Nuages.
Tree versus Spider.
He just instantly drops the Overgrowth. Maybe a little bit.
Follow-up.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too early on that one. Just didn't have your Snapfire nearby or your techies.
I mean, he just needed to pop it in order to live.
Yeah. Possibly.
Bottom tower is under attack. Dire are scanning for enemies.
But I really like the part of the map that Infamous is playing right now.
Yeah, I agree. I will say Juggernaut is still super farmed this game. He has been basically uncontested. He has his one death, but for the most part, he's got his Battle Fury, Yasha, halfway to his Manta. He is doing really, really, really well.
Yeah, Manta's going to solve a lot of his problems because, like I said, a lot of the team fight off the back of Infamous is set up around this Shrimp Protector. And if you don't get a nice Overgrowth off, it gets Manta'd off, then the rest of your damage might have a hard time connecting. And speaking of connecting, mid lane.
Yeah, the smoke gets popped, but the Omni Slash comes through and the DD Rune doing so much work. He will survive thanks to that living armor. And now the turnaround. Hiko goes in, grabs the Rubik, does still have his Pulverize, looking for another target
He's
potentially.
alive.
No, he will just commit it. Try to bring down that Rubik just in case. Don't want to give him the chance to get away. The Solar Crest slow onto the Juggernaut. He's going to be able to pop that Blade Fury and continue running, but they've got Chase. There's going to be your onslaught. The body block's likely to follow. There's going to be the techies
Nice
to jump in
blast
as
off.
well, and Lumiere will end up going down in the end. 2 very nice kills for the side of Infamous.
Really strange place to try to take a fight on Hokori. Like right in front of their tier 2 tower. I think a little over aggressive on their side.
Yeah,
And they get punished really hard for it.
you just have the bonus aura armor from the tower, plus Nuage's dropping that living armor was just enough, right? Just enough. Gets like 10 bonus armor from being in that situation, and the DD from that Juggernaut was not enough to seal the deal. Jeans looking for Gardic here in the bottom lane.
Cookie's not going to find him.
No, he's not going to find him.
And it's like, even if you win that fight, even if it goes super well, what are you gaining by winning the fight there? Whoa.
Yeah, some very fun shenanigans happening with Rubik and techies, though. As
Punish?
play a little minefield tag. Instead, Primal Beast will just walk away with
Nice
this
Lotus.
Lotus Orb. This is sick,
Very-
man.
Very good against Atoses.
It's just a good Lotus game. Like, it removes
Yeah.
Silken Boa, which is absolutely essential because that damage can really add up if you have a ton of spiders. It reflects Shackle Shot. It removes pretty much everything that this Rubik can do. This is sick. I like this a lot.
I would really like to see Hokori just play this top part of the map with their Broodmother. Their Broodmother's strong, has an Echo Saber. There's a nice tier 1 tower to claim here. Roshan, there's a Roche Pit that is sitting up here. But instead, Infamous is the one rotating up. They might find Broodmother alone.
Yeah, he's about to block right under a ward. It's very close. He's just on the other side of the tree line. They know he's here somewhere.
Onslaught, 360.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta just no-scope it on the backside. The BKB comes out, but it's not fast
Oh.
enough. It was right at the same time as the Pulverize.
Radiant's bottom tower
Yeah, I mean, Pulverize goes through BKB. It's a good spell.
Yeah, that was one of the changes, right? In 7.33, which one? I don't remember. Yeah,
One of
7.33. Now pierces debuff immunity, which got rid of the 25 talent that he used to have and replaced it with cannot be slowed or rooted during trample. Both very good.
Yeah, it feels like the BKB itemization, kind of like you were saying earlier, it feels like a catch-22 with this hero, right? It's like you have to go BKB to mitigate a lot of the
Trample
damage.
onslaught.
But
Yeah.
But then you go BKB, he goes through it anyway.
Yeah.
As a tier 2 tower claimed up by Infamous. Roshan is the trade that Hokori's gonna make.
I think this is fine, but it's taken him a little while, and you're going to take
They're
a lot of
knocking
tier
high
3
ground.
damage. Like, a lot of tier 3 damage. This is a
Just
Terrorblade with a
spotty.
meta up on your high ground. They will have to
Just
pop the
spotty.
fortification, but you might lose the tower. You're definitely going to lose the tower before your team gets back.
The Roshan's going so slow.
Michael just dropping 3 proxies. Yeah, I mean, Wind Ranger's level 1 focus fire is not a ton of damage. It did get pretty heavily nerfed. And there it is. The Roche finally falls, but your tier 3 is gone. You have a
Your
second
base.
fortification that you're going to use it on. Ranged barracks, taking a lot of damage, but it's time to disengage. You have to bail
They
at
need to
this
punish.
point. Mini taking a
Lumineer's
lot
in.
of damage, gets a Sunder
Nice
off onto
Sunder.
Gardic, which is nice. The Overgrowth being held, but the Mortimer Kiss is doing some work. Michael will steal it, but is he just
He's
going to
dead.
die instead? It is. It's enough damage. Gardic forced back to the base. Lumiere super low as well. They end up getting the racks.
Nice. That's so good for Infamous. They will get the racks, not getting punished at all. Even getting
Alone
like a
is
nice
in
little
deep
bonus
here,
kill.
man. He needs to be very careful. They're going to try and chase. He does have the Lotus, but already spent it. Tries to onslaught away, gets caught for the moment. The blast off, it clips
it misses.
It clips the high ground. Dude, that is one of the worst feelings. He's going to try and TP out, but
And
he
he dies
cannot
for
make it.
Falls a little short.
That is one of those bugs I feel like should be fixed. It's one of those things that is super frustrating if it happens, and that is a really rough situation because it would have been a completely different fight if that didn't clip the pillar.
Yeah, well, anything that makes techies slightly worse, in my opinion, is okay in my books, but nice for Hokori. They were so desperate to get a pick off there. They knew that they just couldn't let that trade happen without trying to get a kill on the back end, and they get the techies. It's not the biggest kill in the world, but at least it's something. But they would have much more preferred a bigger kill there, but all in all, I
Yeah.
think really good for Infamous so far.
Oh, whoa. You can pulverize a Tormentor. That's interesting. I did not know. I mean, I should know this because there was that really freaking cool bug where you would relocate the Primal Beast with the Tormentor and kill the enemy fountain.
Yeah, true. I remember. Yeah, and a shard going the way of the Train Protector.
Yeah, very good this game. Having that free route out of the Nature's guys is fantastic. A little bit of extra movement speed to try and hunt this Broodmother hiding in trees. This is fantastic. And Jeans
Yeah, I
is
feel-
just full right-click build, by the way. I don't know if you noticed. He has Dragonlance, Gleipnir, and a Grove Bow.
Nice.
Yeah, this is just right-click Snapfire. He didn't even consider going for things like Aghanim Scepter. He's like, nope, we right-click, boy.
I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, you look at the sort of late game potential for this lineup, and Snapfire just needs to do damage. There's plenty of lockdown between the Primal Beast, the Snapfire, or the Techie, sorry, and the Train Protectors. So, just making sure you can continue to do damage. Mortimer's Kisses is plenty of right damage. Just supplement that with some physical damage, and you and the TB are going to be the ones that wipe the floor with Hokori when taking team fights. If the rest of your spells are executed properly.
One thing I am noticing is Juggernaut is finishing up his Butterfly here fairly soon, which is a huge buff to this hero's damage. But you have to know Infamous are going to pick up some MKBs. It's a core Snapfire going right clip damage. MKB is like one of her favorite items to pick up. Terrorblade might end up going one anyway just because of the Wind Ranger, unless they can come up with a Nullifier sometime soon. And here's the item I was actually really curious about. Hiko was holding a ton of money deciding between Crimson Guard, Blink, and Aghanim Scepter, and it looks like he has finished up an Ags on this Primal Beast, so a ton of damage that comes out from this hero when he has these Roar stacks.
Yeah, just upping the damage. Trying to ensure that Infamous is hitting a timing right now that Hokori isn't going to have the sustain to deal with.
Dude, actually, breaking Blade Dance might be the most sick shit I've ever seen. I actually didn't think about this. I was trying to figure out, like, what is he breaking? It just nullifies the 20 talent off Juggernaut. Which is, like, the reason Juggernaut is picked.
Yeah, true. That does definitely seem value. There's no way
okay.
it goes through spin though, right?
It does not pierce spell immunity, no. But
But is it dispellable? I guess. Like if you get the break off before spin, is it
I mean,
like Silver Edge?
it probably does, but in spin, I don't know if it makes too much of a difference because you're only attacking like a couple times during the spin. I'd have to test this. I don't think it pierces spell immunity. Fairly confident that it doesn't, but
I doubt it.
or
as well.
debuff immunity.
Yeah, debuff immunity. I'll remember that that's a thing eventually.
I don't know.
That's what it's called. One day.
Top lane, looking for alone. Mortimer Kisses just come out right away, and Hiko onslots through. That is a lot of damage. Some globs thrown into the base, looking for just some extra scouting potential here. As this Michael just dropping proxy mines in the enemy face here from downtown. Quite funny.
Yeah, range on proxy mines feels pretty good. I don't know if it's gonna save your barracks though.
I mean, Rubik's out of mana now. He just spent so much mana dropping proxies. He has to go back to the fountain. And it will definitely not save your...
instantly deleted.
Yeah, it's not going to save anything here. They grab the full racks.
Yeah, Infamous playing very well. Doing a lot with their timing. And it only gets better for them as time goes on. One thing I like about this Aghanims on the Primal Beast is... Oh, here's a go.
Good old Lotus Orb, Reactive Taser. He's out. He's even got a Guardian Greaves. He's chilling, man. This Techies is so farmed. He is out-farming the enemy mid lane Wind Ranger at this point. That is the state of this game for Hokori. Like, all of the net worth is pretty even in terms of, like, the top few cores. But then you realize that this Wind Ranger has not been able to get online at all. She has so many deaths. Both supports on the side of Infamous are super farmed. That is a Manta dead on Courier. That's actually pretty big.
Yeah, that is big. But Hokori need dispels so bad. They need some way to get out of these roots.
Crimson Guard's now done on Primal Beast as well. They have some wards placed up onto the high ground.
Yeah, Hiko going in. He thought about it.
He ends up canceling. A nice shackle there onto the Techies, but he gets the Guardian Greaves heal off, and Vitaly still trying to just lay into it, but you're playing into the Terrorblade, man. This guy does way too much damage. Tombstone dropped onto the high ground, cleaned up without any issues. This will grab the D ward as well. And back into bottom lane. Why not? You're going to try and force Hokori back into their high ground. You've still got meta. You want to use this duration. BKB still up. You still have Overgrowth. Everything is here for Infamous.
Yeah,
no
and it's
fortification
not
either.
Even necessarily about taking a fight here, right? It's just about corralling Hiroki into their base. Or Hokori. Like, good lord. They're going to get the tier 3 tower anyway.
Yeah, and there's no fortification. You can't really stop this, and Hiko gets those uproar stacks. He just starts letting the stomps rip. There's going to be a nice... I mean...
Harpoon into
Harpoon
what,
back, but yeah, they just didn't have anything to follow it up, and Mini just walks away. He's still out of that BKB, ready to go.
Yeah, just a nice casual tier 3 tower claim there by Infamous as Hokori continues to struggle to find a way to start these fights.
I mean, you steal their Wisdom Rune and walk away. They're just claiming so much of the map. So many of the resources are going their ways. We'll see them go back for their own Wisdom Rune here, I'm sure, shortly.
Yeah, so many things to try to solve here on the side of Hokori. They need to find a way to start these fights. They need to find a way to dispel all these, you know, Gleipnirs and Overgrowths coming out. They need to find a way to get through the damage of the Terrorblade, try to disable the Terrorblade before Sunder comes out, but he has a BKB. He has a Lotus Orb sitting behind him. There's so many ways to sort of ensure that this Terrorblade is going to have presence in these team fights. The Harpoon initiation did not look convincing.
I mean, it's sick because you can pull him back, like, just not where he wants to be. I just don't know, like, if they have the damage to kill the Terrorblade at all. Like, if he presses BKB, it's like Omni Slash is really about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even if you pull him back, right? You have Mortimer's Kisses raining on top of you. You have a Primal Beast charging in to disrupt the initiation, as well as a Techies coming in. You have the heal coming out from the Treant Protector. It's a hard ask. And I feel like for Hokori, looking back on this game, it kind of felt like it started slipping away due to some of the rotations. They there was rotation from that Treant Protector up at the top lane that set up a... Or wait, sorry, the other way around. They had a really nice start on their Broodmother, where they were able to claim this tier 1 tower, rotate over to this tier 1 middle, claim it, and then they put Broodmother into this top lane, and they never rotated up to this Broodmother in the top lane and secure this top tier 1. So they kind of got Broodmother sort of like halfway to completing her objective on the map, but didn't finish the job. And once that happened, Broodmother started getting picked off. Hokori started taking inefficient fights around the mid lane. They started taking inefficient trades into the Roshan. So I feel like they came out of the laning phase okay, but didn't really push the advantages quite enough to ensure that this Broodmother had full impact, and they were able to make as much space as possible for the Juggernaut. Because if you were able to take control of this top lane, keep the lane pushed out beyond this tier 1, then maybe that trade of Roche into tier 3 doesn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say there's some pretty huge damage pickups here. We got the MKB on the Terrorblade. We're almost to the MKB on the Snapfire, but one thing to note is Infamous have a huge advantage playing into this Roshan right now. You do have a Broodmother on Hokori, which makes it a little bit easier, being able to kind of just ignore the terrain, but when you have heroes like Techies who can just set up mines here, they don't really give vision, but they give knowledge, right? If the mines are popping, you know where Hokori is. If they're not popping, you know where they aren't. So it is a really advantageous position to be in on Infamous.
Yeah, and it feels like for Hokori, there's kind of only their main spell that kind of says, this is where we're going to fight, the Tombstone, just gets solved by Snapfire, by Techies, even by the Terrorblade. So really hard for them to sort of like stake a claim in a location and have advantage in a teamfight area, where for Infamous, it's like the exact opposite. You have Techies mines, you have overgrowths, you have all sorts of stuff just randomly splashing around in an AoE. Makes it very nice for them to fight around a Roche pit.
The good old send spiders all around. This is a pretty cool way of dealing with it. Send the spider army in, smoke behind them, take out all the Techies mines. It's actually pretty sick.
Yeah, and I think getting around this Roche pit, right? Because you have to place this Tombstone out of vision so it doesn't get clicked down.
Oh, they will go in. They find the Techies. The Shackle ends up connecting to the Terrorblade as well. Lumire's got a DD. If he can get his Omni Slash target, it would be huge, but instead they back out. They are a little bit too afraid to go up onto the high ground. Well, maybe they are going to chase. It is a DD. The Omni Slash, it is going to connect, but where is it gone? It's just going to take down Mr. Jeans on the backside. That's a damn good target. Lumire's got to get out. There's going to be the Overgrowth, though. He is all alone. Pulverize, of course, to pierce the BKB. The follow-in with the blast off. And Mini on the front side gets shackled, gets brought down before the Sunder is an option. It's the rest of Infamous on the run here, and Nuwage's trying to help out Hiko. He gets the Lotus off. He's going to jump on through with the onslaught. The damage from this uproar, it's enough to finish him off, and Gardic in the trees trying to get away from the Treant Protector. For now, it's not going to be enough, as Hiko will just trample right on through. Ends up being in 3 for 3. Overall, a pretty nuts fight. Like, honestly, even I think overall, but maybe slightly favoring Hokori because they don't give up Roche here.
Yeah, we'll see if the Tali's able to escape, but I think you should be able to. Has webs to work with.
In terms of gold, they got a massive advantage here. Jeez.
Yeah, really interesting fight, right? Because we saw that that Omni Slash just take them all the way to Kansas over here on the other side. It's like, where do you go in the fight? And it actually put Terrorblade out of position because he popped BKB meta, ran forward into the rest of Hokori, while Infamous followed the Juggernaut back over to where he just Omni Slashed onto. So not only was the Juggernaut able to pick off the Snapfire, but he also allowed the rest of Hokori to deal with the Terrorblade and his BKB meta duration. So the Terrorblade wasn't able to have a fight, the Snapfire wasn't able to have a fight, and the Omni Slash that kind of looked like a throw to begin with because it brought him you know, all the way into Kingdom Come on the opposite side of the fight, actually split Infamous up enough to allow Hokori to take a pretty decent trade there.
And it instantly killed Mr. Jeans on the Snapfire. And that is about as good as you could probably ask for. If he got a lucky, like, Hurricane Pike away, then maybe the fight is different. But Jeans just hits level 20, so we have the little Shredder using attack damage now, which suddenly means this hero is incredibly scary. But yeah, it ended up kind of working out for Hokori. Like, losing the Jug, not the end of the world, because you keep Wind Ranger and Broodmother alive. And they're closing in on some big items. Scotty almost completed here for the Broodmother. And Wind Ranger, I could have sworn she had something on Courier, but maybe not. Maybe it is just literally Blink completed now. It's just so little farm. Oh, no.
Unfortunately for Hokori, their hard work securing the bottom part of the bottom Roche pit kind of goes to waste, because now Roche on its top, and the techies is already here securing mines around the pit. So it feels like they have to do all that hard work, getting vision, getting some map control around that bottom pit all over again here in the top lane.
Yeah,
which...
Broodmother needs to transport the webs. He needs to start destroying the web built in the bottom lane and start dropping the webs all over top so he can send spiders through these areas again. We're going to see both teams smoke up, as it is just this Roshan that is super important. Whichever team can grab the second Roche here.
Yeah,
Likely
Primal
to
Beast
have
got the shard
Oh,
from the Tormentor.
the scans hit both teams. They know exactly what's going on. But luckily... Oh, they get the Shackle. They find the Techies. That's a great opening, but a good 4-step to get him out. They're looking for Lumiere. Hiko, can he get the onslaught? He does!
Pulverize.
But a nice save from Michael. Tries to pull him out.
Huge.
Yeah, the grab ally. Very good. Where did Jug go? Yeah, it was like he's still in the Tombstone, right? He gets the Omni Slash off at the last second, trying to bring down the Primal Beast, but he's so damn tanky. And they will turn it on, man. The damage is too much. Jeans here on this Snapfire, just shredding him down, takes him out. Poor dead on the side of Hokori. And Hiko in the trees here, hunting down Michael with the Shiva's Guard. He has a Pulverize in one, should be able to... Oh!
Okay.
Did he not see him? Well, we're not gonna talk about it. Anyway, they're all dead. Snapfire just absolutely shredded these heroes.
Yeah, it kind of felt like the wrong target to go on, right? Techies takes a lot to bring down. He's super tanky, especially with all the items behind him with the reactive tasers. So it felt like even though they got the kill, it was an overcommittal onto the support, and it set up Infamous to take a really nice fight. And it felt like Hokori was just constantly backpedaling, trying to get back and back and back to set up another go into the fight, and it just never happened. Mr. Jeans was able to walk forward and just clean house with his damage. They did their best. There was some nice little plays to try to save Lumiere. The harpoon canceling the pulverize, the housing into the tombstone from the Undying, but it just wasn't enough. I mean, even a defensive lift coming from the Rubik to try to get the Juggernaut out of that fight. But the chase is a lot from
They
Infamous.
tried, man. They threw everything to try and save the Jug, and he was just hiding in the Tombstone. I don't know if he realized he was hiding in the Tombstone either. I think he was just as confused for a moment. He's like, wait a minute. And then just comes out with a fraction of HP, instantly throwing the Omni Slash.
I feel like they need to add like an audio or something. It definitely is like a little non-obvious whenever you go into a tombstone.
Yeah, it needs an audio cue. At least Pudge's Dismember like has an audio cue.
Yeah.
So I feel like they'll add one. All right, here we are once again for Infamous. They've got the Aegis, they've got the cheese. They're looking to go for this high ground push, and honestly, it's going to be fairly easy for them.
Yeah,
you have fortification, but I don't know how you start this fight. If you go on the Terrorblade, you've got to find a way to kill him twice. You have two great BKB piercing disables at this point, so it's not going to be easy. Oh, they go in. The shackle. But the break, once again, on this Terrorblade. It's just too good. The Pulverize just shredding the Jug, and on the backside of the fight, he just dies before he can do anything. They don't have a Sunder available. Terrorblade still protected by the Aegis. Meta is up as well. I think he's fine giving up his first life. Nico wants to go in. There's going to be the...
Nice overgrowth.
I mean, they got him. The onslaught on through with the Mortimer Kisses. They're just all dead.
Way too much damage. Way too much control. Way too much net worth, and this might be the end. I think Hokori might be out of gas here.
Oh, yeah. I think Hokori, maybe
Going on to the Ancient.
Ani for sure. Oh, a nice pulverize from downtown. Very fun. I love that.
In and
But
out
yeah,
of the
you're
base.
thrown. It's dead. They're just focusing it up here on Mini. He does not want to risk this one. He saw what happened last game for Hokori. They don't want 108 minutes. So game 1 will go the way of Infamous.
Yeah, very nice showing from both teams. I really like the draft going in. I felt like Hokori just could have played around their Broodmother a little bit better, played around that map, and tried to take more of advantage of the early timing that they did have. Because at one point in this game, Juggernaut was pretty farmed, but not really pushing the most they could have out of the dominance of this Broodmother, and it led to some unfortunate trades. And at that point, the net worth was just out of control.